This is the 7Artisans 4mm f2.8 circular fisheye lens for aps-c and micro four thirds mirrorless cameras. And it lets you take these wild, fully circular images that just take in an enormous amount of your surroundings. And I'm going to show you how to make the most of it in this video. Seven Artisans sent me this lens free of charge, and I've been shooting with it for the last month to produce this review. It's a huge win for this channel to get 7Artisans on board so I can show off these fantastic affordable lenses for your mirrorless setups. So a big thank you to them. Now, when I first got this lens, I wanted to get the most out of it, so I did a lot of research into how to use fisheye lenses, and I want to share those tips with you here. First, sometimes it's nice to make one straight line to really anchor the image, whether that's a horizon or a leading line. In the case of a horizon, what you'll need to do is move the horizon into the center, the middle of the composition, in order for it to be straight. For other lines, you'll need to play with how you're tilting or rotating the camera until the line looks straight, like I did in this overpass shot, which I think looks much better with this one straight leading line than it did when that line was curved. For landscape type shots, I found it really neat to throw the sun somewhere in the frame and drop the aperture to f16, which produces some really nice starbursts on this 7Artisans lens. Once again, this can kind of act like an anchor point in the image. And in the case of this image, I wasn't pointed anywhere near the sun, but rather the extreme angle of the lens allowed the camera to catch it out of the corner of my eye. This means you can get some compositions you otherwise could not, where you're pointed away from the sun, but still have the sun in the frame. Another cool composition trick I learned was to get down low. This really stretches the ground out in your image because it's capturing what is in front of you and underneath the camera. In this image with the water, this became a really neat effect because the water ripples were exaggerated to the point where you could really see them and use them as part of the composition. Whereas a traditional lens, this would only show as a minor part. Here, it is a main part. Now I have some metering tips. It's important to note that since this lens will not cover your full sensor, your metering is going to go whack unless you properly set it. I set mine to center weighted or spot metering for the best results, or better yet, shoot in full manual. Otherwise, your camera is going to see the dark edges and throw your exposure completely off. And for your information, I've been shooting it on this loaned Fujifilm XM1 from a subscriber for a different project you'll see in the future. Thank you, by the way. It makes for a really sleek looking setup. Speaking of sleek, this lens is a fantastic metal build quality with a great fit and finish. Both the focusing ring and the stepless aperture ring rotate smoothly with nice dampening. The aperture ring includes this tab to assist you so you don't have to try and feel your way between the two rings while your eye is in the viewfinder. For such a fast, wide-angle lens, it is surprisingly compact, which means that throwing it in your bag as an extra lens won't be a problem. It also means that when I used my camera's built-in flash, there was no shadow caused by an excessively large front element, and this is a really nice perk for me. Because the glass elements protrude in front of the lens body, a special padded cap is included to protect the lens, and you can't put filters on it. In all my travels with this lens, the cap stayed secured, and I never once scratched the lens. Obviously, this is not your usual lens, but I do think it's important to talk about some of the optical characteristics of the 7Artisans 4mm f2.8 fisheye lens. I will say at f2.8 it looks lovely for close-up subjects, but when focused to infinity at f2.8 can be a little bit soft. Stop down even to f4 and then beyond, the lens becomes incredibly sharp, as you would imagine. On the extreme edges of the lens, you do get some weird stuff and weird colors with the light coming in, but that's kind of unavoidable for the type of lens that it is. For the main part of the image though, chromatic aberrations were well controlled, flare was well controlled, and I was really impressed. I've used other fisheye lenses before where things like chromatic aberration can look super bad, and I just don't think that's the case with this lens. If you like affordable, high quality lenses, you're going to want to check out this video I made on another one of my favorites. I'll see you over there, and until next time, happy snapping.